This is Bells and Whistle Sport in association with IQ Boxing and Safer Training Solution and Dirty South. I'm here, Jermaine. We're here with Sugar Chambers. We're going to discuss this weekend's massive lightweight unification fight between Lomachenko versus Lopez. How you doing, bro?
Not bad, not too bad, man. Happy to be here. You know what I mean? Through these times or whatever, but we still have to get the show rolling, innit?
Yep, we do indeed, man. We do indeed, bro. Massive fight as we spoke, like I just said. Lomachenko versus Lopez. Some people saying obviously this fight might be too soon for Lopez. Some people thinking Lomachenko will still come out victor, or some people thinking that there could be a shock on the cards here. Uh, I'm going to ask you for your opinion. Obviously, for me, I'm going to ask you this question: is this fight too soon for Lopez?
The thing is, yeah, you know what? I would say yes. Yeah, I would say it's too soon. I believe if he took another year or so before taking this fight, then maybe he'd have a better chance at winning. But that doesn't mean, there's the point I'm trying to make, is it doesn't mean I don't think he can pull it off. You know what I mean? I just believe he's more likely to be able to pull it off if he took his time a bit. So had that 2 or 3 more fights, you know, to build up the experience and then go in for a fight like this.
Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously, he's 15-0. Obviously, his last fight, he came off a fantastic win against Richard Comey, a brilliant knockout stoppage in that fight. And he's always had his eye on Lomachenko. They've had a few run-ins before in the past, and including that Teofimo Lopez's father had a run-in with Lomachenko himself a couple of years back, and he said from then his son is always going to fight this guy. People,
Yeah.
obviously, there's been a lot of bad blood in this leading up to this fight. Obviously, Lopez has come out and said some stuff a bit personal. Obviously, some stuff he said that Lomachenko is a bit arrogant. Basically, looks down at him, and just thinks he's nothing. And he obviously sometimes he thinks of him as a bit of chewing gum on the bottom of his shoe. He said he's come out and said that, and he said he's looking to. Yeah, I mean, he's looking to go in there and put on a show. He's looking to go in there and stop him. He's also come out and said that a few of these fighters go in there, they're already beaten before they step in the ring with Lomachenko. Do you believe this to be true?
Yeah, definitely. Like when you see someone who's on the thing is with Lomachenko's situation, it's a bit different, yeah. But people were saying the similar thing about Tyson, that the guy's already scared before the fight starts. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with Lomachenko. I believe a lot of the guys going in there don't actually believe they got the chance to beat him. They think they've seen, do you know what I mean, the footage already, and they think, no, I can't beat this guy. I'm gonna try, but they in their head they've already lost the fight. You know what I mean? But with Lopez, the way I'm watching Lopez and, you know what I mean, with what he's saying and how he's going on or whatever, I think Lopez is probably the first guy. I'm trying to think, is the first guy that comes to mind anyway. Yeah, I know the fight hasn't happened yet, but I'm talking about in the build up. It's the first time I've seen someone say he's actually gonna go out there and beat him. You know, first time I've seen someone with that kind of confidence going in to fight someone with that kind of record and what's on his resume already for the amount of fights that he's had.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, he's very confident. He's a bigger man. He's a bigger fighter. He's a bigger man. And
Yeah.
when last time I see Lomachenko, obviously, when he did lose his one defeat he had in his career against Salido, I think it was Salido.
Big with
Yeah,
Orlando Salido, yeah.
yeah. When he lost to Salido did bully him around that fight. He did make it very uncomfortable for Lomachenko that night. A lot of clinching, a lot of leaning on him, and just basically knocked him out of his rhythm. So he was able to box the way he's used to boxing, which is sometimes could be on the back foot, sometimes could be on the front foot, but very good technically with his feet. Moves around the ring very well, good boxing IQ, and hardly gets hit. But obviously, for me, do you believe Lopez is going to have to take these sort of tactics from Salido into this fight against Lomachenko?
100%. It's all about advantages. So with Lomachenko naturally being the smaller man, he's going to be looking to use his speed. You know, but with Lopez, you see Lopez's punching power, right? At that weight, stepping up to fight, you have to remember Lopez is a lightweight already. Yeah, Lomachenko might be a lightweight now, but but he stepped up to that weight. You know what I mean? So naturally, he's not that little weight difference. that natural weight difference will count for a lot. You know, like it's not like Lomachenko's not been put down before. He's come back and then got the win still, but he can be put down. And when you look at Lopez's last fight, that overhand right which he scored, you know what they say about right hands against southpaws. It's like that's like that super effective punch. You know, so I believe one of his best weapons is also the weakness against that type of fighter he's fighting. So I believe if there was ever a style to beat or ever a person to beat Lomachenko, I think it's Lopez. You know, I kind of hear him talking about how he's done. I don't think he's done, but I think at 33 years old, in those lower weights as well, they start to lose it a bit quicker. Not that I think he's lost it, but there's a little truth to something like that. Has he lost it enough to get beat by Lopez? Obviously, that's what we're looking to find out. But yeah, I do think he can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some people have questioned him, say has he lost it or not. Obviously, his last fight when he fought Luke Campbell in UK, obviously it wasn't a convincing performance from Lomachenko. He did get hurt a few times to the body from Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell did drag him all the way down to the 12th round, and obviously went down to the judges' scorecards, and Lomachenko came out victorious. But obviously, we see in that fight that he can be taken to deep waters, he can be hurt. Do you believe, obviously, we talked about the time he's been dropped by Linares. Do you believe if Lopez gets that shot, do you believe Lomachenko will get up from that shot and come back and to win a fight, or that will be it, him getting stopped?
If it's the punch he hit, if he hits him in the identical punch to what he hit Conley with, no, he ain't gonna get up from that. But honestly, like the way I see it playing out, I see Lopez basically just using that, just basically pressuring him throughout the fight. And just too much, it's that power to get hit with those same shots. Remember, Lomachenko don't get hit a lot, but it's not like he can't be hit. And at that, with that kind of weight difference, there's a lot of weight behind those punches. You know, there's a lot of weight behind those punches, which how many shots can you take? Because, yeah, we've seen him take a few shots. We've seen him been put down before, you know? So it's not like he can't get hit. You understand? So he will get hit. He will get hit at some point, and it's whether he can take the shot or not, that's going to be telling. You know, the younger fighter is going to come out with a lot more, just come out steaming pretty much. Obviously, you have to be careful not to walk into anything, but he's going to come out steaming. He's going to use his speed, yeah, but and his power. You know, so it might, the athletic side of things, if he plays into that kind of game plan, you know, we might see a surprise in it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you've watched it, but I've watched it this week as Blood, Sweat and Tears. Obviously,
yeah, I've been watching that show. Yeah.
Which has been really good, and obviously they've gone back behind the scenes of both fighters. Obviously Lomachenko's camp and Lopez's camp leading up to this fight. There's a lot of bad blood words said. Obviously Lomachenko come out to, I think it's a day or yesterday in the press conference, that he's looking to take him to deep waters. He's looking, if possibly, to hurt him if he can. But obviously the first things first is to get the win. But he's looking to take him to deep waters, somewhere he's never been before. Do you believe that Lomachenko can do that to Lopez, take him to deep waters and make it an uncomfortable night?
Well, you know what fight I was watching the build up here, and I know a lot of other people have said this. The whole build up behind this, the way they've been talking about each other, this fight is reminding me of Vargas De La Hoya. You know what I mean? Like Vargas just didn't rate him, and it's like, he's basically saying he's all hype or whatever, right? But what happened in that fight? Vargas took the fight to De La Hoya, but what happened? De La Hoya, using his smarts and using that little bit more experience that he's got, made it basically kind of weathered the storm, right? And then basically end up stopping him. I think it was round 11. So I think he can, taking him into deep waters. We'll see how much of his energy it takes to take him into those deep waters, you know. So I think he can take him to the deep waters, but will he burn himself out or will he take too much damage going in there? I think he might. I think Lopez can do that damage, and you can only duck and block so many punches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can only duck and block so many punches. I'm not saying the game plan's gonna completely fail, but you know, there's only so many punches you can avoid, and to keep up with a younger fighter like that, he's gonna have a hard time doing it. Also, I saw them mentioning about how the inactivity difference, how long they've been inactive for. For a younger fighter, it's not too bad, but for an older fighter, when you get older, you need to practice that bit more. to keep your skills up to scratch. And he's been inactive for a little while now.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to play a part as well.
Well, when I say, obviously, when we talked about that fight, obviously, most of Lopez's fights is not finished inside the distance. Obviously, he stopped a lot of his guys, a lot of his opponents. So if Lomachenko can take him to deep waters and make it a difficult night for him, how do you see it going? Like, how do you see the fight going? Can you see Lopez being good enough to, with a lot of boxing IQ, to take this fight to a points win, or does he have to get a stoppage?
This is like the only way I see him getting a points win, right? He has to drop him more than once. I don't see him literally outscoring him just by landing so many more punches than him. Do you know what I mean? It's gonna be, he'll drop him probably in one of the early rounds, maybe, and then maybe again late. And those 2 extra points is so it will still be a quite a narrow win. They decided it will still be a close fight, but obviously those 2 knockdowns or 1 knockdown or whatever does happen that will be the difference between the win and the loss. You know, so I kind of in 2 minds about it, but obviously I had to pick one choice where I'd go for Lopez, right? And as mad as it sounds, I'd go with Lopez on points, because as much as I don't think he might knock him out, I think he can drop him, and those knockdowns count for something. But the other thing I was gonna say is Lopez will be on to him in the beginning, but again, it's about how you can be winning. It's about winning the war and not just the battles. So I believe Lopez will get onto him from the start, be onto him, pepper him up with punches or whatever. But then what can end up happening is he burns himself out too much, punches himself out too early, then starts getting hurt and outpointed towards the later stretch of the rounds. And like you said about his matches finishing inside the distance, if he's not used to being inside the distance, so if he's not used to going all the way to the end of the fight, he might start gassing out. He might get tired towards those championship rounds, and then, you know what I mean, get outscored in those last few rounds, which make the big difference, or even end up getting stopped. Very similar to Vargas de la Hoya. It's a similar thing happened. Vargas and de la Hoya, you know, he was beating him in the beginning, but he was putting so much effort to be able to keep up with him and beat him. He couldn't keep it up for all that time, and ended up getting hurt late, and then eventually got stopped.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously, for me, only question mark I'll have over Lopez is obviously not going the distance, not being able to fight 12 rounds, going to the judges' scorecards. He has got that punching power. He does usually finish his fighters off quite early into the fights, and obviously where Lomachenko has won a lot of fights on the judges' scorecards, and he's also stopped a lot of fighters as well. He's got a bit of both. The varieties. He's seen both. He's gone a long haul, and he's also put fighters away early doors. So that's the only question mark I'll have over Lopez. But I want to ask you a question. Well, predictions for this fight. How do you see it going? How do you see the fight going?
Lopez. I see Lopez winning it. I see Lopez just because it's not about rooting for the underdog or nothing like that. Like I said, is Lomachenko the better fighter? Yeah. Like overall, if you want to talk about skills and movement, being well rounded or whatever, yeah. But at the same time, I feel like the difference in the fight will be that power at someone who, you know, because you see Linares was the same weight, but the difference is Linares has come up from a lower weight the same way Lomachenko has. Like Lopez is a lightweight, an actual lightweight, you know, like that weight difference, and it's not like there's a huge skill gap. You know what I mean? It's not like Lopez has just come out of the amateurs. You know, it's like that he's in a unification bout. You know, so he's of a certain skill level already. And sometimes even if someone's got that little bit more skill than you, when you talk about being hit, the power does count for something. You know, and I feel like even if it's not a knockout, I feel like he can outpoint him because he might just drop him 1 or 2 times in a close fight where those 2 knockdowns as an extra point in each round adds up to a points victory.
I agree.
Because if you quickly, because I was going to say this, if it's obviously a regular draw, as in 6 rounds to 6 is 114, yeah. But if there's 2 knockdowns against one of the fighters, they won the same amount of rounds, but those 2 knockdowns is an extra point, which takes it down to 14-12, I believe.
Yeah.
You see, so then it gets evened out just like that.
I'm hoping. Well, I'm hoping someone doesn't go the distance. I'm hoping we see a stoppage. But either way, I'm sure it's going to be a great fight, and hopefully maybe the fight of the year. Obviously, we had a few fights that have been great this year, but it's got potential to be the fight of the year. Obviously, the winner will become the undisputed lightweight champion. I want to ask you another question before we go. And what the question I'm going to ask you is what's next for the winner? Obviously, a unification fight with Devin Haney or Gamboa, as Gamboa's fighting Devin Haney soon, or we're going to have super featherweight champion Gervonta Davis taking on Santa Cruz. Could that be a potential move up to light welterweight for any of the winners there and fighting the winner of Tank versus Santa Cruz?
Tank. So I'm gonna start with the unification bout with Haney. What the winner of this fight taking on Haney? I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe because you've got in that weight you've got Haney, Garcia, Ryan Garcia, Lomachenko, and what's his name? Lopez. He's fighting now. So yeah, I think the unification bout with Haney. I think that's a big move. I would either one of these two to fight Haney. That's what I'd like to see. Either one of them. That's why I'm not too fussed about the winner. I do think Lopez will win it. You know, I'm not against the idea of Lomachenko beating him at the same time, but winner fighting Haney, I think that's the best move. But again, when you look at this one here, WBA super featherweight champ, Tanko Santa Cruz, yeah, I think that's a good idea too. I think that's a good one too. To go to light welterweight, that's a good division. Yeah, I think that's a good move for those two as well. But yeah, unification with Haney and Tank and Santa Cruz to go to light welterweight. You know, it's a big move for either of them. There was who is it who fought light welterweight? I can't remember the two guys' names, but they were up there in ranking. They both look quite good. So to see Santa Cruz or Tank fight one of them, you know, let's just see them all fight each other, innit?
Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, you talk about light welterweight division. Obviously, you got Tank in there, Santa Cruz. You can also fight there. We got Russell, Gary Russell as well.
Gary Russell. Yeah, that's the name I was thinking of. Yeah, Gary Russell. Yeah.
I mean, so there is some great fights for the winner of this fight as well to go on and fight these guys and potentially win another world title at another weight class. So I mean,
exactly.
There is a big incentive for the winner of this fight to go on and fight in some big fights. Will generate a lot of money, really, because I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but if Lopez was to beat Lomachenko, a fight with Devin Haney will accumulate a lot of money. Both young fighters haven't really been tested yet. Obviously, this is the biggest test of Lopez's career so far, and Devin Haney's not really been tested. He's a world champion, but for me, he's not been tested. So that fight could potentially be a great fight in terms of a lot of money being generated into this fight, and obviously two young fighters going at it to win another world title. So that's another fight I'll probably prefer. And my predictions for the fight, for this fight as well, before we do go, my predictions for this fight, I'm going to go for a Lopez stoppage. A lot of people are in favor of Lomachenko. Obviously, he is a great champion. I mean, obviously he's dominated. Some people do regard him as the pound for pound best boxer out there at the moment on the planet. But I just think watching him in his last fight going off his last fight when he did fight Luke Campbell, I did see a few signs of weaknesses there where he did get caught to the body, did get caught a few times by Luke Campbell, and Luke Campbell's not really a fast fighter like Lopez, and doesn't really have the power like Lopez. So I just believe that this could be a shock here. I could believe that Lopez could shock the world if he goes in there with the right game plan. Boxes very clever and is patient and lands his shots well. I believe we can see a new undisputed champion here, and Lopez on his 16th career fight becoming an undisputed champion.
Yeah, which is something we haven't. I don't think we've seen that before so quickly, undisputed within 16 fights.
No, I don't think we have. I don't think we have. I mean, it's phenomenal. If he does pull it off, it truly is phenomenal. Although he's only had 15 fights now, when his 16th fight to be undisputed champion is something special. So good luck to both of the fighters. It's going to be a great fight, and one I'm looking forward to tuning in and watching on ESPN and Top Rank. And I would like to thank you, Sugar Chambers, for joining me today.
No problem.
Bells and Whistles.
No problem.
Yes, for joining us on the Bells and Whistles. You can also follow us on. You can follow us on Instagram, Bells and Whistles _official, Twitter, Bells Sport, Facebook, Bells and Whistles, and our YouTube channel, Bells and Whistles. Thanks for taking the time for joining us on Bells and Whistles Sports, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care now.
Okay, take care.